Hi there, smart home enthusiasts, and welcome back to the official YoLink YouTube channel. In today's video, we're checking out a brand new product from YoLink called the FlowSmart Controller, which is actually a family of products. These products are all about making your home safer and more convenient. Now, this system not only lets you monitor and control the flow of water in your own home, but also using its onboard intelligence, the FlowSmart Controller can actually detect if your home has a leak and automatically shut the water off, saving you thousands of dollars in damages and weeks of headaches. Now, before we jump in, as always, we've included timestamps down in the description if you want to skip around. Alternatively, you can use the chapters in the video below for quick navigation. So let's get started. Now, before you run out to Amazon and pick up a FlowSmart system, there's a few things you need to know to make sure you get the right product for your home. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is determine where you want to install your FlowSmart. Now, this system needs to be installed as part of your main incoming water line. This is a project that you can tackle yourself if you're handy, or you can reach out to a local plumber if you need that extra degree of confidence. But today, I'm going to show you how to get this product installed, so if you want to go ahead and tackle this project yourself. Now, for our examples in today's video, we're going to be using PEX water lines. So if you have copper or any other style, then you'll need to adapt this install method to your home. So now that we have a better idea what this project looks like, let's look at where we want to get this installed. So for most homes, you're going to want to install this right after your master water shutoff valve inside of your house. So you are going to need about a foot of pipe that you're going to be able to remove so you can cover the distance for both the meter and the shutoff valve. So if you do install your FlowSmart system at this location, you'll be able to monitor and control all the water flowing into your home. However, if you do have an irrigation system or a sprinkler system, these are typically installed outdoors in a in-ground box close to your city water meter. So if yours is set up like this, then you won't be able to track the irrigation system's use because the monitor is going to go in after that point. We're not going to cover outdoor installation in this video, but it is an option.
Now, before we move on to the next section, let's discuss the limitations of the meter installation. The meter must be installed horizontally, not vertically. As you can see in this installation location, there isn't enough pipe to install it horizontally. In this case, we have constructed a bypass that allows the meter and shutoff valve to be installed horizontally. This modification also enables easy bypassing of the meter in the event of an issue. See the meter manual for more details.
The next thing that you'll need to determine is the size of your water line. This is as simple as looking at the markings on the side of your water pipe. Most homes in the US either have a 3/4 inch or 1 inch supply line. So once you determine the pipe size, you can order the correct FlowSmart system and get the accessories that you need. Quickly, let's talk about some different options there are. So the kit that we're looking at today is actually the full kit that has the meter, controller, shutoff valve, and includes a YoLink hub. So if you already have a shutoff valve or a water meter, you can purchase just a specific part of this system for your install. For all water control and metering products, please check out our full selection at YoSmart.com. If you're interested in some of YoLink's other water control products, we have a previously released video that covers YoLink's other water shutoff valves and their leak sensors. So if you want to reduce your risk of water-related damage, make sure you check out YoLink's water sensors to increase the intelligence of your smart home. And those are fully compatible with the system you're looking at today. Now that we have all that information out of the way, let's take a look at what comes in the FlowSmart system. So when you place an order for a FlowSmart system, it comes with the shutoff valve, a meter, a controller, connectors and accessories for the meter, and a YoLink hub. We'll talk about what other additional accessories that you'll need to customize this for your install here in the next section. So let's take a look at each part of the system. So first, let's take a look at the most unique part of this system, which is the water meter. Now, this is actually a traditional water meter that has the capability of seeing all of the water usage right here on the physical front on these gauges. However, what makes this unique is the fact that it also has an onboard sensor that can transmit the water usage to the YoLink controller. So this adds a layer of intelligence that a shutoff valve just doesn't have. Next up, let's talk about the shutoff valve. Now again, each kit comes with a properly sized shutoff valve for your home's water lines. Now the nice thing about these shutoff valves is they're super low power use and can quickly shut the water off in your home automatically when tied in with the rest of the controller. It does have a manual override here on top that allows you to manually open and close the valve. By pulling up on the actuator, it allows you to manually open and close the valve for testing purposes or if for some reason you have a system failure. The beautiful thing about having an automated water shutoff valve is in the event that you're not home or on vacation and heaven forbid you have a leak, the system can automatically shut down, preventing a ton of damage to your home. And we can control this both manually in the YoLink app or have it automatically turn on and off by using the logic in the controller. Now, speaking of the controller, the YoLink FlowSmart controller is the newest part of this entire system. This has been custom built specifically for this application and allows you to connect both the meter and the valve into one simple to use system. Now the cool thing about the controller is the fact that it can run off of either 4 included AA batteries or, for long-term usage, a plug-in AC style receptacle. This allows you to have peace of mind knowing that you won't have to worry about batteries, and in the event of a power failure, you can still shut the water off. Now, in addition to all the cool features that come in on the FlowSmart controller, it's also IP rated, meaning that you don't have to worry about it getting damaged if you happen to have a major water leak or a flood in your basement. And we'll go into a lot more of the details of the controller in the app section. Also included in your FlowSmart kit is a YoLink hub. Now, if you're already a member of the YoLink family, not to worry, you can actually use a second hub in another location to extend the range of your existing system or give it away to a friend or family member. Now, the YoLink hub is the heart of YoLink's standard LoRa-based wireless technology. This provides unparalleled wireless range to up to 1/4 mile in open air environments. This means that you should be able to install a hub in a standard home and have it communicate all throughout your house. Now, the hub is necessary for the FlowSmart controller to work properly. It also lets you connect with other things like Amazon's Alexa or Google's Assistant. You can even link it to other products in the YoLink family for a complete smart home setup. So think of the hub as your central control point that makes everything work together in your smart home. Plus, if this is your first YoLink product, then it's easy to add on things like door sensors, garage door openers, or the whole catalog. Now that we know what comes in the kit, let's get everything installed. Now, before we get started with installation, please make sure you double check your local codes and ordinances before modifying your plumbing. Some cities or municipalities might have special rules. So for our recommended installation location, we're going to be installing this downstream from our master shutoff valve. It's always recommended that you keep the master shutoff valve in line in your system just in case of an emergency. Plus, you won't have to call your local water company to turn your water off for this install. Again, you need to have about 1 foot of open pipe in order to cut in this system. You can always attach the meter and the valve together to get an approximate distance to make sure you have what you need. Now, you are going to need a couple of tools and adapters to complete this installation. And again, we're going to be talking about a PEX style water line. So for this installation, we're going to use the easiest method, which is using a product called SharkBite. These adapters can be found at your normal home goods store like Home Depot or Lowe's and are very easy to install as long as you have the right method. Now, we have a link down below for an instructional video from SharkBite on how to install these, but I'll give you kind of a brief version here. So if you are going to be using the SharkBite adapters, you're going to need a couple of simple tools. You're going to need a pipe cutter, you're going to need a deburring tool, which is available right next to all of the SharkBite adapters. So you're going to need both a male and female SharkBite adapter for this installation. Again, make sure you size it correctly to your water line. So when you're at the store, make sure, for example, if you have a 3/4 inch water line, grab the 3/4 inch version. And if you order the same size kit, it'll be the exact same pipe size. So for my example, this is a 3/4 inch SharkBite connector to 3/4 inch NPT male and female. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the SharkBite style connectors and you want to go with a more traditional connector, you'll need a PEX crimping tool, some PEX collars, and the appropriate size adapter. Make sure you get the compression style. In addition to all these tools, you're going to need some Teflon tape, which is readily available again at your home goods store, and the appropriate size wrenches. And for some miscellaneous items that would make your life much easier are towels and buckets. So no matter what you're going to do, you're going to get some water left over in the lines, and so you want something to make your cleanup even easier. So with that out of the way, let's get started on the installation. So the first thing we need to do is turn off the master water shutoff valve. Next, we need to drain all the lines as best you can. So typically I recommend finding a basement sink or an outdoor spigot that's the lowest point in your house and open up and dump all the water out from here. Now, fortunately on my system, I actually have a drain point right next to my shutoff valve, making it much easier. But it's still a good idea to start with a sink, that way you can drain it right into the sewer. So next up, we want to measure and mark where we want to install the system. If you want to, you can temporarily install the flow meter and the shutoff valve with the adapters to get an idea of how much gap you're going to need. But it's probably a good idea to have a little bit of flexibility here. That way it'll make installation a lot simpler. And again, if you're measuring, make sure you account for the adapters when you cut. If unsure, cut less off the piping, that way you can always cut more later on. So next up is the scary step. Let's go ahead and cut into our existing water line. Again, have your towels ready because you're probably going to have some water come out here. So we want to cut out and remove the section of water line that we don't need anymore. So if you're using the SharkBite adapters, we want to take out the deburring tool and rotate it a few times to clean out the cut edge. Then, with the same tool, we want to take out a Sharpie or other marker and mark the correct depth with this tool. This way we know when the adapter is bottomed out and secure. So again, we're going to start with the shutoff valve. So we want to take one of the male adapters and apply a few wraps of Teflon tape. So we want to thread in the adapter to the shutoff valve, and using our wrench, make sure it's snug. Then just take the shark bite adapter and press up into the cut PEX line until it reaches the mark. With that out of the way, let's move on to the meter. The first thing we have to do is actually prep our meter. So we're going to install the pipe adapters onto the main meter body. To do this, we simply need to insert the included rubber gasket and then slide the pipe adapter onto the nut and then tighten it all together. You may need to use a wrench to get this nice and snug. Then we need to connect the meter and valve together. To do this, again, add a few wraps of Teflon tape to the male side and then screw these two together. If you run into an issue where you cannot get the meter and the valve to line up, you can loosen the nut on the meter and get everything aligned. Then tighten this nut back down. Finally, we can install the shark bite adapter on the other end of our cut. So we're going to take the female adapter and repeat the same process to deburr, mark, and install the female adapter on the PEX pipe. Then we need to add the Teflon tape to the male side and tighten it all down together. If you do run into problems, this is where having a little bit of flexibility is nice in your pipes. You can also reverse the order and start with the adapter if that's easier. Now, one more time, we want to make sure everything is tight and installed. So we want to go through and make sure each one of these nuts haven't become loose. Then we want to manually close the YoLink shutoff valve. This will ensure if we do run into a problem, it'll reduce the amount of water leaks that you have to run into. Once you confirm the shutoff valve is closed, so we want to slowly turn back on the master water shutoff valve. We want to do this to reduce the chance of having a water hammer effect. So you want to check around for any leaks, whether it's from the meter, the adapters, or the shutoff valve. If you do see any leaking, immediately shut off the master water shutoff valve and go ahead and tighten everything back up again. Once you see no leaks, now we can either use the manual valve control to open, or we can use the app if you've got that configured. Once it's opened up, again, you're going to want to check around to make sure there's no leaks. Now, it might take a little bit to fill back up all the water lines in your house. And here's a quick tip. Go to the faucet that's furthest from your water valve, usually upstairs or at the other side of your home, and turn that faucet on until all of the air is out and you get a smooth water flow. But please note, each of your faucets will probably sputter the first time you turn them back on again. This is normal and no cause for alarm. It'll go away in a few seconds. All right, there you go. The hard part is over. You've got the system fully installed, and now we can get the app set up and play around with some of the cool features. All right, so let's go back to the FlowSmart system and get everything hooked up electronically. So the first thing you're going to want it to do is go ahead and connect the water meter to the controller using the included clip adapter. Make sure you have the wire colors correct. Red to red, black to black. Then we'll take the other connector, which is a 5-pin connector, and attach it to the shutoff valve. This is as simple as matching the keyed cutout on the connector and then tightening everything down using the nut on the other side. Once these are connected, you can go ahead and plug the controller into power if you have that available. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and mount the controller either by drilling into the closest wall and use the included mounting kit, or you can use an adhesive mount, which is not included. But we want to keep the controller up and out of the way. And don't worry if you don't have an AC plug nearby, it can run off of batteries for up to 2 years. So there we go. Now the flow meter is installed. Let's get it configured in the app and see what cool features that we have available. So if this is your first YoLink product, we've got an entire dedicated video on how to set up the hub. You can find links to it down in the description. But if you already have a YoLink hub set up, adding the FlowSmart controller to your app is very straightforward. So let's go through these instructions very quickly on how to get this set up. Now, because everything is ran through one single controller, you only need to set up one device in the app. So to do that, we just need to take our YoLink app and click on the scanner icon on the top right-hand corner, and then we'll pick up the controller and scan the QR code right here on the front. From this screen, we can go ahead and give it a name, we can add it to a room, and we can add it to our favorite. So once you see the device bound, you'll get a green check mark at the top. Don't worry if you see a yellow triangle, that's just because we haven't woken up the device yet. To do that, you just need to press the set button one time, and that the device will wake up and communicate with your hub. Once you see it online, you'll notice there'll be a tile added to your home screen that gives you the option to activate the valve and also see the status of the meter. So if we click on the device, we'll go into the device detail screen where we can see at the top right-hand corner the signal level indicated by the little Wi-Fi signal icon. Also the battery level if you're not using the AC adapter. Then below that, we can see the current meter reading in gallons, and we can also see the last reading to the right of it. If we press the refresh icon, it'll let us refresh from the app, but it should do this pretty much automatically. Below that, we'll see a graph of our water usage over a particular amount of time, and of course we can click on this graph and it would take us in to give us more granular detail over a day, week, or month. You can also export this to a CSV file if you want. Then at the bottom, we have the valve control. So from here, we can turn the valve on or off, and you will notice there is a toggle on the main tile on the front screen. So we can activate it, which takes about 5 seconds for it to either actuate, open, or closed, and you can see the status from here. Below that, there's an option to set a timer. So if you wanted to only activate the water for a period of time or deactivate it for a period of time, you have that option here. We have the history section here at the bottom, which will take us into the history of our valve being opened or closed. And then we can also activate the leak plan, and this is where we can set up the logic that'll automatically detect whether or not your home has a leak. So we hit the plus button up here, and if you haven't already, it's gonna ask you to set your time zone, and then we can set times of day that we wanna have leak detection active. So this is great for if you happen to be away from your home. You typically are gonna wanna pick a time period that's gonna have constant water usage. So again, when people are not home, or maybe in the middle of the night, these are times when you might not have any variation in your water usage, and it makes it easier for the system to detect whether or not you have a leak. So you can set up to 6 different periods of time to watch for water leaks. So again, we'd recommend when people are not at the house, or during the middle of the night, or if you happen to be on vacation, it's a great time to set this up because your water usage should be pretty consistent. And if there's any variation during this time period, you'll get a notification on the phone, and also it'll automatically shut off the valve if you have that activated. So speaking of that, let's go into the device settings by clicking the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. And this allows us to go through all the various settings available for this device. So of course we can change the name of the device here at the top, set which room it's in, and favorite. We can go in and set our alerts, which takes us into our device alarm strategies. And to find out more about that, we did an entire app tour. You can find that down in the description below, which takes you through all the features, including that of app strategies and automations. But some unique things to this specific device are open reminders. So to remind you if you do have the water valve opened and you want to only have it open for a period of time, you can have that turn on or off. You can set up a continuous alarm. So if the water valve is off or on, it'll send you a continuous alert letting you know this is the case. This is probably a great idea for having a water valve shut off alarm. That way, in the case if you do accidentally turn off the water valve using the app or a water leak is detected, you want to be continuously pinged until you resolve that problem. So you can say alert every 5 minutes, confirm. And then if you have an alert, it'll continue to alert your phone every 5 minutes until you resolve it. You can also set the precision of your water meter if you want on here. And your precisions can be either to the full gallon, the 1/10 of a gallon, or 100th of a gallon. And you can set the leak threshold, which will tell the system how much water over the normal to detect as a leak. Again, you can go in here and set any value of gallons of water. And then the next setting below this is the important one. If we want to automatically shut off our water if a leak is detected. So if this is toggled on, then in the event of a water leak being detected, it'll automatically shut off your water. We also have an option of going back into the leak detection schedule like we did on the main screen. We can also manually add water to our graph if we needed to, and we can set our duration as well. So next up below that, we have the valve state. We can see if the valve is open or closed. We can also make sure our time is synchronized, which is important for that schedule we looked at a second ago. We can see the current water meter reading. So under the water meter units, you can change it to either the default, which is gallons, cubic meters, or CCF, which is 100 cubic feet. You can also change the recorded versus the displayed value. And then below this is all the technical information for our device, including the model number, the EUID, the serial number, the signal intensity, your battery level, and firmware. And again, like all other YoLink devices, if there is a firmware update available, you'll see a little note right here below the firmware number. Then below that is the option to delete the device if you need to get rid of it or reconfigure it. All right, so for the last section, let's look at how to set up an alert. So let's set up a custom notification in the event that we do detect a water leak. So to do this, go into automation and we'll click the little plus button in the top right-hand corner. So we're gonna give this a name. We're gonna call this water valve off. And under when, we're gonna select device action, water meter, and we can do the leak warning on here. And then under behavior, we'll click the plus button. And then in here, we can set a custom notification, set this to always. And under notification content, we can set a custom message. Or if you have other YoLink products, you can set up an automation to automatically set off an alarm or turn a light on or off to indicate you got a leak. So once we've done all this, we can hit the check mark. And now in the event that we get a water leak, we will get a notification on the phone indicating that we have a leak and to check on things. Now to wrap everything up, the YoLink FlowSmart controller offers a robust set of features that not only enhance your water management and safety, but also provide flexibility to adapt to your individual preferences and usage patterns. Now, if you need any additional support or have any questions about setting up your YoLink FlowSmart controller, not to worry, we've got you covered. You can visit our support page at yosmart.com/support for our comprehensive guides and resources. And of course, if you have any specific questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to our dedicated support team at service@yosmart.com. Thank you for watching today's video, and we hope this tutorial has been helpful. Stay tuned for more smart home tutorials coming your way.